you basically say there's a lot of things that were holding you back. Some of it was fear. Some of it was not yet being prepared and not knowing what direction that you should take the podcast. What was like the catalyst that allowed you to say, just go, I'm just going to do it?
So I'm not sure there was like a specific catalyst, but really the genesis of this was tremendous depression and anxiety. We were really, really locked down. I live in Santa Monica, California. And the virus measures that were implemented were very, very restrictive. To the extent that like I would go to another county to take a hike with a friend just so I could see people and get out. And I found myself incredibly depressed and just feeling, I'm very much an empath, and I could feel the collective anxiety, and it was really, really getting to me. But I realized that, and I tell this story often, which it sounds kind of silly, but I used to go down every day to the local liquor store because he would honor my medical exemption for the mask, and he would talk to me. And I realized I'm not a big drinker. Sometimes I would just buy water or like protein bars, gum, But I did realize I was actually drinking a lot more than I'm comfortable with and than I even enjoy. There was one moment where I had poured myself, and I think it was like half a glass of wine. It was like less than a bottle a week, So it's not a lot for some people, but it was a lot for me, especially to be at home alone. That just isn't typical for me. But there was one night where I had poured a glass and I didn't like the taste of it. And I only bought stuff that I really enjoyed. So that was very odd. I'm like, what's going on here? And I realized that this was out of like, a desperate need to connect. I went down there so I could talk to somebody and see a face. And I pretty much stopped that. I put an end to that. I was like, I'm still going to go down there, but the wine needs to stop. But I was also chewing my mom's ear off. So initially, before starting the podcast, the idea was a lot of people had suggested a blog as well. I was just posting a lot on social media because I was so frustrated, so isolated, had a lot of thoughts, a lot of things I wanted to say and share. I annoyed quite a few people, I'm sure, in the process, hit several nerves. But when I thought, well, okay, now may be the great opportunity to write. And I sat in front of my computer, the first day the lockdown started. And at the end of 10 hours, I had a beautiful blank page staring back at me. So I was not all that successful in the writing process, but I have enough experience with the creative process to know that it's not something that can be forced. And I respected that I was just too anxious and overwhelmed and depressed at that moment to really be successful in my writing journey. And I needed to take a step back. So I ordered a bunch of books, and I love to read. I was like, I have this great opportunity now. I have all this time. I can read all these things that I, really never had the time for before. But then I found myself wanting to talk to people about all these great ideas that I was reading about. And, I love my mother, but I really just chewed her ear off. And I think I was getting to the point where I was abusing her generosity as being my sounding board. And that was the moment where the combination of those things where I realized I want to do this. And I mostly did it for me. I said, I hope that other people find benefit in these conversations. I hope that it's of value to others. But if not, it may literally be the thing that saves my life. And so I'm just going to do it. And I also realized that you're never going to start off with having it all figured out. So I figured I was better off starting and, figuring it out all along the way, because I knew the purpose at the time was really, they say that necessity is the motherhood of invention. So I think that was really the genesis for me.